Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Mayor Kevin McCarty from Sacramento. Great England jersey on. We're enjoying World Cup fever over in the US right now. But in terms of the MLB franchise push, you called this a Sacramento sports renaissance, which I think is music to the ears of any sports fan in Sacramento. So how does this fit in with the bigger picture with the Kings, Republic FC, and the Golden One Center?
Yeah, well, Sacramento is, as you said, a sports town. We have embraced professional sports for decades. For a long time, we had to drive down to the Bay Area to witness professional sports, but we've had a renaissance here in the last 40 years. We've had the Kings here selling out games, one of the top teams as far as attendance since 1985. The Republic, our professional soccer team, they've been here for over a decade now, and World Cup watch parties all across our town today. Hence my UK jersey. My mom was from England, so I'm honoring her country, and we're really excited about the opportunity to compete for a Major League Baseball expansion team. We've had AAA baseball for 26 years here in Sacramento. We've had the A's hosting. We've been hosting the A's here for 2 years. It's been phenomenal. And, just by coincidence, the same time the A's were here, the commissioner put out the word, hey, America, we're looking for 2 new cities to be expansion cities. And we think we're primed to be a host location, and we're gearing up to turn in our application when the time's ready.
When was the moment that you guys decided, let's do this? There was a first pitch invite to an A's game, right? Do you remember? Can you take us back to that?
I do. I think it was last June the 6th. I remember I got to throw out the first pitch with the other mayor of West Sacramento. We were just thinking about, wow, wouldn't it be cool if one day Major League Baseball does have an expansion competition? And then lo and behold, a few weeks later, the commissioner went on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball and let it be known that they're going to be reaching out to cities across America to put their best foot forward. And we've been primed for this for decades. We knew it was always hard to go after another Major League Baseball team with 2 teams in the Bay Area within 90 miles. But, certainly a lot of A's fans are disappointed. But the A's going to Las Vegas, opens up this Northern California market and opportunity for us. And, we're supporting the A's here for a couple of years, showing that we're Major League ready. But more importantly, we have a site. We have local governments participating, including the city of Sacramento, my city, and the city of West Sac, the host city. We're putting together our ownership group. So we'll be ready to compete and show that our market is worthy. We know that our metrics stand out with all the other contenders. And so, we're ready to put our best foot forward.
Yeah, well, the rivals are strong as well. We've got Portland, Salt Lake City, Charlotte, Nashville. What does Sacramento have that those guys don't, do you think?
Well, they're all great cities. And a lot of my friends said, Kevin, can we really compete in the Major League Baseball competition? Look at the other big cities. Well, the real big cities already have a team. New York, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia, LA, SF, right? So the other tier cities that are looking for expansion, we're just as big or bigger than them as far as the media market, as far as our population, as far as our per capita income, as far as our growth. We're equal or surpass those cities. And we're really competing with the 3 in the West, we think. Two other cities in us for the Western, because MLB is looking for 1 West Coast, 1 East Coast city. So, we think our competition is just our 2 West Coast cities. And, if you look across MLB right now, I think there's 7 teams that have smaller populations and medium markets in Sacramento today, with us today. And we're primed to compete. And, we're looking forward to the opportunity when the commissioner says, turn in your application.
Sacramento pitch already has 1.8 billion investment. Is that correct? And how did that number come together? Who's signing the checks?
Yes, and we're growing. So it is a multi-billion-dollar endeavor. We don't know the expansion fee out there yet. So we know that we need to, put a serious financial package out there We are fortunate that we have four local investors that have stepped up to the tune of $800 million. Mark Friedman, who owns the land next to the current ballpark in West Sacramento, is our lead local investor. We have the Kings organization, would have put together their land. And then we have two very successful and thriving sovereign Indian nations, tribes here that have very successful operations that have each put forward $250 million. So that's $800 million for the four local groups. And then the city of West Sacramento, through an amazing public-private partnership that doesn't impact their general fund, has a unique financing structure. When you build this ballpark district out there in their bridge district along the waterfront, all the new growth in property taxes would go back and help pay for the construction of the ballpark. So that generates up to $1 billion. And so we're off to a good start. We have a list of other local investors that are signing up, and we look forward to announcing more in the coming months. We do know that we need to announce our lead investor, and we are working with a couple options, and know that when the time's right, we will announce that lead investor.
You mentioned that Sacramento already has a single major league market with the Kings. So instead of splitting attention across 3 or 4 teams, do you think that's a factor in the MLB's thinking?
Big factor, we think. If you look at cities that have population and professional sports franchises, we're the city with the most opportunity for growth. And even if we had 2 major league teams, we'd still be the number 1 city as far as population divided by professional sports team. So we know there's opportunity for growth. We also know that we support teams thick and thin. The Kings, unfortunately, for 40 years haven't had a ton of success in the postseason, the playoffs, but they sold out 500 games in a row, an NBA record. One of the most successful and profitable teams as far as ticket sales in the past 20 years in the NBA. The Republic are great attendance, where they're rabid fans supporting soccer at the pitch here, and they're building a new stadium as well here at our downtown rail yards. And the A's, last year I think they had 7 sellouts, and this year they're over 20 already, and we're just in the middle of June. So fans are stepping up in greater numbers to support the A's during their 3-year run. So we know we have capacity. Plus, we have a growing market. Sacramento is one of the few cities in California that's growing. Our population has growth from the Bay Area. We have this mega region that's in the Sacramento rough area. Our metropolitan area is a little over 2 million, but you go out 30, 40 miles, we're at like 4 million. So we have plenty of opportunity to the north, to the south, and to the west, to the east, to draw fans that want to support Major League Sports.
The presence of the A's till 2028, how do you make that work in your favor and not a complication that you essentially already have an MLB team in Sacramento, albeit temporary?
Well, it's a great advantage. And let's face it, that was the reason that we got excited about this. When Vivek Ranadive and the Kings arranged for the A's to come here for a couple years, we thought, wow, that's amazing. A 3-year run of professional baseball. We thought, what if we can parlay this into an opportunity to apply for expansion when the time comes? Like I mentioned earlier, lo and behold, in their first year, after a couple months, just by coincidence, the commissioner's office came out and laid out the most definitive plans so forth as far as expanding by 2 cities by 2029. So, we have the chance to put our best foot forward, show Major League Baseball that we can support a new franchise here. We've been amazed that, certainly the A's and visiting players like Aaron Judge have recently said, hey, Sacramento would be a great host city for Major League Baseball. And so we know that this is an opportunity for us to shine. And as we know as well, there are half a dozen or dozen other cities that would like to be in the mix to be an MLB expansion city, but they don't have what we have, which is today, tomorrow, and next year, an MLB playing in our city. So, we let it be known, hey, come out and support baseball the next couple of years, could only increase our chances. They're going to determine the host cities based upon, the ballpark site, the market, the ownership group, but this gives us, a little bit of opportunity to shine in the coming year.
I think as sports fans, when we think of Sacramento, we think of the Kings. We think of it as a basketball city. Do you feel the love of baseball on the streets?
Absolutely. This is a baseball city. No offense to basketball. This is a baseball city. We hosted the Solons for 75 years in the Pacific Coast League before the Dodgers and Giants moved west in 58. Baseball on the West Coast was the Pacific Coast League. We had a thriving franchise here, the Sacramento Solons. They later became the AAA team. They're very, very successful. We've had the River Cats here, AAA team, for now 27 years. And that was really basically the model for cities to grow to become major league cities. You look at Denver, when they were a AAA team and they got the Rockies in 93. You look at Phoenix, they were a AAA city. They got the Diamondbacks in 98 through expansion. And then Las Vegas today, they're a AAA city and they're getting the A's through a relocation. So having a AAA team gives you a chance to audition. But Sacramento has been a tremendous baseball city, supporting baseball here, also going in droves to the Bay Area to Giants and A's games, which I have done my entire life. We have a number of amazing baseball luminaries who started playing here. Our steering committee is co-led by two Sacramento legends, Dusty Baker and Derek Lee. As I said earlier, Aaron Judge was born in Sacramento, grew up, 25 miles to the south here in Linden. So we have a host of past and current Major League Baseball players, and we have plenty of youth leagues that are just growing here that we know would support going out and seeing America's pastime. A nice warm summer night, going to the ballpark along the waterfront, seeing a beautiful picturesque stadium, looking over the skyline of Sacramento and West Sac, and I think will be a prime site for Major League Baseball.
What could be better? What made it, West Sacramento for you guys in the Bridge District? What was the attraction there?
Yeah, I know it's kind of unique. I'm the mayor of City of Sacramento, and I'm co-chairing this campaign for a city across the river. And some people may think, I need to compete for my city, and but this helps both cities. We're all in this together. We're a region, and the ballpark literally is across the river, so you can walk to it from our old Sacramento downtown, and less than 5-minute walk. So it would really help both cities equally as far as economic development, tourism, boosting our coffers and funding core city services, making Sacramento more a destination city for both people who want to come here and businesses that want to relocate here. West Sac has had a stadium site there for 27 years now, and they have this district called the Bridge District, otherwise known as the Ballpark District, which has been thriving. There's 50 acres of opportunity site next door to have a great mixed use ballpark and restaurants, shops, hotels, housing there as well. So yeah, we thought that would be all things being equal, a good site. And then lastly, they have a very unique financing structure that will allow them to put together a really, I think, a great public-private partnership, which is fair to the taxpayers, doesn't impact their general fund, and provides essentially increment growth in new taxes from the new ballpark district to go back to help pay to create that ballpark in the ballpark district. So all these things combined made it a no-brainer to zero in on West Sacramento.
What are the critics saying about this project, and what do you say to them?
I think critics say, really? Can we really go after it, Kevin? Are you sure? And I say yes, 100%. I was at the beginning, I was like, I don't know, are we really in the mix with a chance? And the more I looked at it and studied the other jurisdictions that are vying for it, they're no different than us. And if you look at the metrics as far as we mentioned earlier, population, TV market, growth, the economy, kind of our local, all those factors, we are equal or greater to all the other competition. So this just zeroes in on it having a ballpark site that's entitled and shovel ready, which we do, a good public-private partnership to help finance it, which we do, and then an ownership group. So we've kind of set the foundation for our local ownership group. We're still growing, and I know some of the critics say, "Where's your number one? Where's your, your Steinbrenner or Lou Wolf type of person? Who's the lead?" Those are, of course, the Yankees and Mets owners. Um, or Lou Wolf was the ace. Cohn is the Mets guy. Who's your number one? How can you be out there talking about it? Well, we're not ready. The campaign hasn't even started yet. The MLB hasn't even said when they're looking for cities to put forward their application. So we have a couple options. We want to make sure that the number one lead investor fits our desires, that matches our Sacramento kind of mantra, and also makes sense for them as well. So we're being very thoughtful and methodical about announcing who our lead owner, our lead investor is for our MLB franchise. But we will be ready when the time comes.
Do you have names and colors and logos floating around? Have you got any thoughts?
No. Do you have any thoughts for us?
Yeah, you're not the first person who's asked. I think, yeah, it should definitely be a Sacramento native. Are you going to reach out to the fans for their input on that?
100%. We already are doing that. Yeah, the name that our former baseball team here, they were called the Sacramento Solons. And a Solon I think in Greek mythology was a statesperson, a leader, a political leader. So of course we were the capital. So we were known as the Solons. That may or may not be the name. We're certainly open to whatever names that the community wants to put forward. And I think we'll have a good, fun competition and an effort to look for input from the community for that, when the time is right. And heck, if that's the issue we're zeroing in on, we'll be very, very excited.
What needs to happen over the next 12 months for you to make sure you are right there?
Well, the first thing is, we need the Major League Baseball to officially announce that they want to expand. So far it's been the commissioner's desires publicly on multiple occasions to zero in on that. The league needs to vote on that and open up a process. There's a collective bargaining agreement that needs to be agreed to with the owners and the players after the season ends. So there's some loose ends that needs to be addressed on that front. And then, we need to tighten and button up our application, our bid. We are very excited where we're starting, but this is just the start. We announced the $1.8 billion with the ballpark support from the public-private partnership, as well as our local investor group. And we're going to be growing that, as well as rolling out our lead investor. And so that needs to, certainly be ready by the time it's time to turn in our application. In the meantime, when I'm telling people here in Sacramento, they want to help, just go out and support baseball. Go support professional baseball. The A's are playing tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and in a couple of days, the Dodgers are coming to town. So, seeing Major League Baseball here is exciting, but filling up the stands, I think, further shows that we are a big league ready city.
100%. If they go with Nashville and Portland, where do you go from there? What's the move?
Well, we don't want them to go to Nashville and Portland. How about Nashville and Sacramento? We think we got a good shot at this. There's an opportunity before us right now, and we're putting our best foot forward. Look, all those cities are great cities. All the cities that are on the list, I think I visited all of them. I've never been to Salt Lake though, but I've been to Nashville, Charlotte, Vancouver, Portland, all the other Austin, all the other cities that are putting their names out there. When the time is right, I think people will be really impressed about Sacramento's bid. That they already are. We're the state capital. We're sometimes a sleeper city. We're not San Francisco, Los Angeles, but we are, the state capital, the fourth largest economy in the world. a growing city, a population with the outskirts going out, 40 or so miles, 4 million people, a growing region, with more, tech, innovation, life sciences jobs coming to our region. So all those things are taking note that we are a city that does currently support professional sports with the Kings and the Republic, but has the opportunity to do a bit more.
I'll be watching with interest. It's a beautiful project. Could be a special piece of history as well. And got to put Sacramento on my list. All the best to the US and England for the World Cup. And great to chat to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.